Hari Om. Chapter 16. We have seen so far in the Bhagavad Gita that Bhagwan has reiterated several times that there are only two things in the world, matter and consciousness, Prakriti and Purush. Our over-identification with Prakriti, with the world of matter, with the world of inert, sthul, gross matter has led us into a life which does not know the way to the highest truth. We have lost our way in one sense. And the reason is only one, our over-identification or over-engagement with the world of Prakriti, matter, sansar. Why do we do that? Identify so much and engage so much and so closely only with the world of matter? Very simple, because it is the seen world, the world which is palpable, which we can see and hear and touch and engage with our senses. And therefore the outer world seems naturally more attractive, more fulfilling, not in a long-lasting way, but yes, it seems to us. That's why we are deluded, thinking that this or that is going to fulfill me. Although we know disappointment at every stage. Everything passes, every relationship, every situation. The wealth has its ups and downs, everything. My health has ups and downs. You can see everything deteriorating, and yet there is some kind of a delusory hope that we pin on to this very, very changing, nashwar world. And that is one of our weaknesses, or let's call it a mistake of humankind. If we correct that one mistake, then Bhagwan says, then you can reach the highest levels of human evolution, of spiritual attainment. How do we do that? So he said, for that we must understand in chapter 16, Asuri Pravritti and Daivi Pravritti. What are your noble and ignoble qualities? Ignoble and noble qualities. How is it that we have both of them? Yes, of course we have both of them, because we are made up of Prakriti and Purush, that is consciousness and matter, both. We are a bundle of both. Duryodhan doesn't know that. What he seems to be convinced about is that the very powerful army, Narayani army of Krishna is the only thing that will help him win. Win what? What he desires. And what does he desire most passionately? Duryodhan, with all his passion and energy, desires power and recognition and a lot of respect. And he thinks that this power, recognition, respect and wealth will come to him through the army. Now the army is a symbol of all that is outer, all that is powerful, all that appears to have a lot of samarthya. And we say, yes, hame ye bhi chahiye, then I will be invincible. How can we be invincible when all the objects outside in the world which we take support of are themselves nashwar? They are not nitya, they are anitya. But this is another mistake, you see. So it's only a mistake correction that Krishna has been attempting so far, saying, why are you making these small mistakes? You can see everything is nashwar and yet you pin your hopes on it. And Duryodhan does the same thing, that I am going to get, I will be invincible and get long-lasting or permanent happiness and power and glory through this army. What about Arjun? Arjun says, no, you can have the army. I want Krishna. He has chosen Krishna as the one that can support him and guide him and be his friend and philosopher and guide by his side, his Sarathi. We do not have a Sarathi by our side, and that's why we are often led into a world of materialism, thinking that this material progress in our life and our careers and our wealth and our status and मान and सम्मान and बढ़ाई जो हमारी होती है, we seem to think that हाँ यही तो है, this is my way of gaining my status, my true status. But human beings are meant to gain another high status, and that is the union with the Paramatma, to know the highest truth. Now Duryodhan with his Asuri Pravritti is deluded about this, and Arjun with his very sattvic and with his very noble qualities says, no, for me Krishna will suffice. I know how big the battle is. I know how big the Kurukshetra battle is. But for me, I need a Sarathi by my side. I need a guide. I need a scripture. I need philosophy. So that's his choice. Do we make that choice in life? that depends on how we are conditioned to lead our lives. And therefore Krishna is only holding up a mirror to us in chapter 16, saying, hey, can you just detect and identify your asuri pravritti, your asuri qualities, and then weed them out. So in chapter 16, verse number 15, 1-5, Bhagavan says, Adhayo bhijanavaanasmi konyosmi sadrisho maya. I am rich, I am well born. Who is equal to me? This is the mindset of the Asuri, the Duryodhan Pravritti. I am powerful, I have 100 brothers, I am going to conquer, and now I have Krishna's Narayani Sena with me. Who I am invincible, who is equal to me? Konyosmi sadrisho maya. This is the mindset of the Asuri. What about in the modern context? Yes, if I have a lot of contacts in powerful echelons of business or politics, and if I am well placed, and if I have enough wealth where I can use that as a power rather than use it as a tool to help others, as a gift to others who need it more, I use that as, I wield my wealth as a wand of power. Then I say, in the modern context, this is very much like Duryodhan. Yakshe dasyami modishya. Now, this man is so full of vanity. Which man is being described? Well, the one with Asuri Pravritti. He is saying something more. He is saying, look at me. I give alms. I do charity. Look at my great works. And therefore, his heart is now totally distorted by a strange kind of vanity. Vanity about his self-glorification, because his wealth allows him to give, to do charity and give alms and create hospitals or give away money in ashrams. He does all that. But Krishna is watching the bhava with which this is done, the charity, when he says dasyami. Now Bhagavan says, such a person is itya jnana vimohitaha. Sorry to say, he is deluded by his own ignorance. Why? Because yes, he is doing a lot of charity, but this dhan and all the dhan that he is doing is actually part of Jivan Nirvaha. It is part of our sansarik duties. It's not something to pamper our vanity with. So he says, Krishna says, such people are deluded. They are not reaching the truth or reaching the highest potential of humankind, because in all the good acts that they do, they're carrying a seed of ego, vanity, ahamta. If you carry that ahamta even in the good deeds, well, it's going to be nullified. Uska kshaya to hona hi hai. It's just going to be nullified. And therefore Kabir also says, Unche pani na tike, niche hi taharaye. Even water finds its own level. If you put it in a high place, it will flow down to a lower plane. And therefore, nicha hoy so bhari pi, the one who stays at the bottom, at a lower place, the one who stays at the lower place, humble and not full of vanity about his good deeds, ucha pyasa jaye. That person will drink deep, and the one who is full of vanity, ucha, he will be pyasa, ucha pyasa jaye. So Kabir and so many saints have talked about getting rid of ahamta. Outward deeds are not going to fool anyone, and least of all our destiny or our karma or Bhagwan, whatever you call it. No one is going to be fooled by outer action, no matter how grandiose and no matter how well they are praised by a world which is actually observing only our outer actions and not looking deep enough. So Bhagwan says in verse number 16, what is the quality of such a mind? Aneka chitta vibhranta, full of illusions, bewildered, scattered mind. Mohajala samavritaha, entangled. Mohajal के अंदर खुद ही एक वेब बना रखा है of ahamta and arrogance, और उसी में वो फंसा हुआ रहता है. Mohajala samavritaha, delusion. Prasakta kama bhogeshu. Now he has become addicted to self gratification. Kama bhogeshu. सेल्फ ग्रेटिफिकेशन, मुझे ये मिले तभी मैं संतुष्ट रहूंगा, एंड आई वांट मोर एंड मोर एंड मोर ऑफ द सेम, चाहे जितना मुझे संसार दे दे. प्रसक्ता, ही इज एडिक्टेड, says Krishna to Arjun, saying, watch out, I am giving you these warning signals, says Krishna to Arjun. Patanti narakeshu chaho. So in the 16th verse of 16th chapter, Bhagavan says, Patante narakeshu chaho. Such people will definitely fall to hell. Now here, hell is not the hell where you burn forever for your sins. No, not that kind of hell. It is a way of saying that you will not recognize the highest truth, and therefore, bereft of any higher truth in human existence or in the universe, you're just going to be at that lower level of existence, which is like narak, like hell. So, patanti narake, they are responsible for their own downfall, says Krishna. Now, such minds are scattered. Why? Because they, with their aham, they're trying to gain so many things in the world and trying to satisfy their ahamta, their ahankar, and therefore the mind becomes unsteady and uneasy and sometimes bored. And actually, the definition of restlessness is the inability to sit still bodily, or the inability to keep the mind still. And then you say, you watch yourself and say, yes, I am restless. That is one of the pointers. And letting the mind move in thought loops of thought. That means a repeated thought coming over and over again after a few gaps. That loop of thought that we are caught in is called mohajal. There's another mohajal. We don't have to be great philosophers to understand that this kind of restless mental activity, leading us into more physical engagement, of course, in the world, is just going to tire us mentally and physically. We don't have to be even philosophers to understand this simple truth. Now, such people are easily upset. They can tire very easily, physically, mentally, and they spread their restlessness to those around them. So when the restlessness is spread around them, we feel that yes, their reactions to the world are coming from some other source, from their own restlessness, from their own dissatisfaction, and then they say, I can't put a finger to it. Why is it that I am unable? When people take me, or some friends take me to a meditation session, maybe which is going on in some center nearby, I say that no, I can't do it. I feel my heart and mind starts fluttering after 10 minutes, and I feel restless and claustrophobic, and I need to escape. One, because we have not trained our mind and our body to sit still. Everything is a matter of training, and therefore Bhagavan says this moha jal which we have constructed is the same jal of repetitive thoughts. And there's another very favorite activity of the mind, and that is complaining. Complaining, and we weave a little story around our small complaints, and we weave a small story saying that this is why I'm complaining, and whining away. Yeah, it sounds like whining after a while. Whining and complaining. Okay, but do you know that a thought and an action can soon become a repetitive habit if not checked? We know that. And that repetitive habit can become swabhava. So we have to be careful, because that moha jal is that cycle of complaint becoming resentment, resentment becoming bitterness, bitterness becoming a great aggrievement in my life, and saying, oh, I am so unfortunate, becomes a regular theme in the life, that oh, how unfortunate I am, without looking around at people who are less fortunate with much less, and how can I reach out to them. That thought doesn't occur to me. Why? Because I have trained my mind to complain by weaving a small story about whining and whining about my own little dissatisfactions or things going wrong, not according to me, not conducive to me, around me, in my family. Why? Moha jal, Bhagavan says, is your delusion. Moha jala samavritaha, entangled in your own delusion. It's a web woven by you, by your mind, so get out of it. And then this addiction also becomes swabhav, right? It will take you to lower, it will just take you lower and lower, he says. Number 17, again he is describing, he has continued to describe asuri pravritti and the quality of the mind and bhava of such asuri people. Of course, we carry a grain of all these qualities in us, and how much of it we express it determines our personality, whether it's going to be noble, ignoble, asuri or devi. How much we express it, let it express itself, is the choice we have. So Bhagavan says further about the characteristics of such people. Number 17. Atma sambhavita stabdhaha. Oh, there's more to it. They become stubborn, conceited. Stabdhaha, stubborn. Conceited about what? Dhanamana madanvitaha, filled with pride and arrogance, intoxication of their own wealth. See, by wealth we can, it's not only a physical wealth in the sense of money, but you know, there are people who are just popular and they become the center of attraction. So people say, unki lokeshna jo hoti hai na, the ichha for popularity, that is satisfied, and so they become dambhi. Unka मान हो जाता है, arrogance हो जाती है. So that can be a kind of dhan, lokeshna, vitteshna, putreshna. Oh, you know, I may not have enough wealth, but I have sons and granddaughters who are so well placed and so wealthy and so well known and so qualified. Very good, that is their prarabdha and they are doing well in life. But why the conceit in our hearts? That's what Krishna can't understand. That your wealth can be your the high status of the family or our own popularity or actual dhan, because the word used here is only one dhan, but actually it represents a whole lot of things on which we have placed our aham and our arrogance. Dhanamanama danvitaha. So he says, be careful. I am just posting some warning posts or warning signals, says Krishna, and watch out. Dhanamana madanvitaha. Don't become conceited, because in the second line, yajante nama yagyaiste, you are performing so many functions in life, you meaning the asuri people, and they are doing grandiose rituals, you know, very, very elaborate rituals in the temple, and paying thousands of rupees to the priests in order to conduct those rituals. And then there are also very, very grandiose and well publicized social activities, well publicized, and political activities. So social, political, religious, these people, yajante nama yagyasta, they do a lot of yagya, but naam ke vaste, nama yagyaste. This word Hindi is very close to Sanskrit. नाम के वास्ते कर रहे हैं कि बस हमने ये कर दिया, अब हमारा नाम हो जाएगा, and this is nothing for them except a personal advertisement to publicize and to project a certain image about themselves as being pious or generous or charitable. Of course the image is projected, but why do it for that image, for that publicity and that advertisement? Bhagavan is not fooled. He's telling Arjun, look, be careful. Yajante nama yagyaste. If you do it for name only, you're doing it dambhe na vidhi purvakam. Verse number 17, out of ostentation, out of dikhava, dambh, dikhava, hypocrisy, dambhe na vidhi purvakam, and you are doing it avidhi purvakam. यानी कि जो विधि शास्त्रों में बताई गई है कि किस तरह से हमको दान, दया, धर्म, यज्ञ करना है, वो विधि शास्त्र में नहीं बोली है कि आप कंसीट के साथ, एरोगेंस के साथ, पब्लिसिटी के साथ करो, एडवर्टाइजमेंट के साथ. वो विधि इज डिफरेंट शास्त्र की. So it's avidhi purvakam. You're doing it against the injunctions of the shastra. Yes, of course, good actions are good actions. You mean to say they're not going to be rewarded for it? So if there are schools opened and if there are orphanages opened and 1% of the income is donated for people who are differently able, yes, of course, it cannot be nullified completely. That would be silly. Every cause has an effect. You know the law of karma. By now we are familiar with the universal law of karma, and it doesn't forget a single act, the law of karma. So what's going to happen? I have done so many grandiose yagya and actions and social and charitable work in the society. Okay, great. So the reward will be that you will gain what is called swarga in our shastras. Now swarga is not a physical place. Swarga is a dimension of existence where we do not have a human body, and we still exist in that state of bliss because we don't have a human body where there's no dukkha. You know that dukkha has come only because we experience the body and all its pains and aches, and also the mind and intellect which comes with the body. So all the pains and psychological and emotional aches and pains of the mind. Body, mind and intellect is what is bringing us the dukkha of the world and also the sukha, of course. So in that dimension of existence, when there is no body and then we still exist, we spend some time in that swarga waiting out our time of good karma, because I have done yajna, yeah? Right. When all that good karma is exhausted, right back we come into janma, into a body janma, and there the cycle begins again when having exhausted whatever amount of good karma we have done. So the reward is there, but what doesn't change? The swabhava, the ahankara, the atma sambhavitaha, conceit which is mentioned here, stabdha, stubbornness with which we conduct ourselves, that swabhav will not change in Swarga. Yes, we got a lollipop, we got a good reward, and there was sukha or anand for some time, and we are back in the body with the same swabhav. So we have not escaped the cycle of karma. We have not escaped our own swabhava. And asuri pravritti is what is binding us. Our swabhav is binding us. And if it is a daivi pravritti, that is sattvic and really charitable and honest and all the qualities that Bhagavan mentioned as shraddha and daya and kshama, those qualities will liberate us to moksha. But the asuri pravritti is actually binding us. So we come back to bondage. Simple as that. So this publicity doesn't help. Elsewhere in Mahabharata it has been said, Guhitasya bhaved vriddhi, krititasya bhaved kshaya. That means all the deeds which are done in secret will bear merit, and those which are publicized will become kshaya. It has been mentioned elsewhere in Mahabharata. So good karma doesn't go unrewarded. Let's not be deluded. Yes, the swabhav which carries it will get its bad janma again. No change in swabhav. So Bhagavan says another warning signal for you is ahankar, number 18, verse number 18. Falling lower and lower each day. Look at what is happening to the Asuri people. Ahankaram balam darpam. Ahankar, ego, power, balam, my power, my darpa, arrogance, kamam, lust, krodham, anger, samshritaha. I take refuge in all these things. What do you mean refuge? You mean to say that we ordinary people, not sadhakas, but not cruel, and really not very asuri, very devilish, very fierce in our calm and lust. Yeah, we are ordinary people. Do you think we don't have some amount of ahankara and bal and darpa and kama, krodha? Yes, we do have. But then what is the difference between these asuri people? So Bhagavan says, asuri people, they make this ahankar, the bal, the darpa, the arrogance and the power as their fulfillment. Samshritaha, ki main ye hu, and they take pride in it. We ordinary people, if we detect it in ourselves, or if it's pointed out very kindly by a teacher or a shastra or a good friend or a philosopher, we would like to look into these and say, oh, I must do something about it. That's the difference. We all have these qualities, ahankar, power, the intoxication of power and dhan and arrogance. और कोई मेरी मान बढ़ाई कर दे, मेरा मान सम्मान कर दे, उसकी भी लालच रहता है, उसकी लालच रहती है. But Bhagavan says, samshritaha, these people, they actually use these as their fulfillment, their ahankar, bal and darpa. That's the strange thing, because the sadhak simply says that the Devi Pravritti or the sadhak will say that, okay, if I have these qualities of ahankar and bal and darpa and kama and krodha, then let me examine it. I have it. That doesn't make me a complete out and out asuri pravritti. I'm willing to examine it, and that willingness to examine, Bhagwan respects that. He has a high regard for that kind of a sadhak. Arjuna is in that category. and probably we are too, because it has been said, how do we examine our own selves when all these qualities arise in us? Because they arise, and as if in intoxication we give vent to it, we express it, and then later we may or may not even reflect upon it. We are not very reflective people, because our education system, our society, our family upbringing does not train us to be reflective of ourselves. It tells us to acquire, to gain, to finish those 50 mathematics exercises, the school environment, and to gain better and better marks in the school composition. 80, no, I need 90%. It's all a number game, and a number game is nothing for a child except accumulation. See, I've got so many marks and so much of that. Same thing turns into accumulation of wealth or social contacts, whatever we are accumulating. It's the same mindset that the child is given in early schooling. But in early schooling, we are not giving them the emotional quotient of reflectiveness. For example, we can think about it now. When जब हमारी कोई बढ़ाई कर रहा है, या मुझे कोई बहुत बुरी तरह प्रताड़ना कर रहा है, someone who is hurting me with very abusive, cruel words or derogatory words, I can see and hear the derogatory words. I can see and hear the man samman, right? Because they're coming from outside. I can experience it. But at that same moment, can I see कि जब मेरा मान कोई कर रहा है, मुझ में जो अहम, जो संतुष्टि, जो प्रफुल्लिता, that glory, the self-glorification which is rising up in me, can I see that also? Because it is happening at the same time. That is the quality of reflectiveness. And कोई हमारी बुराई कर रहा है, हमारे मुंह पर कर रहा है, या हमने किसी से सुन लिया कि फला फला ये कह रहे थे, and then you have been labeled as someone who is not very truthful, and you are completely hurt. When you are hearing it, you can see the action of hearing, of experiencing those words. At the same time, something inside me is hurting. Can I see the hurt rising at that same time? The moment you see कि, oh, those words are creating some reaction in me, and I turn inward, and the words are going on outside, and I am experiencing what is going on inside. That is the quality, that is the first step to change. Any transformation cannot take place by reading the Gita umpteen number of times, listening to Krishna's words umpteen number of times, because these are again coming from outside. There has to be a point, they are pointers to us, when we turn inward and we say, hey, this is what is happening. I can see the experience outside of me. I can see what reaction is arising because of that experience in me right now. That's a quality of a very highly self-aware person, जो एकदम vigilant है, चेतन है, चैतन्य है. That kind of a quality, self-awareness. So, pradvishantah, mama pradvishantah. Such people who are not aware of me, Bhagwan says, and are sunk in their ahankar and bal and darp. अरे मेरा मान, मेरी बढ़ाई, मेरा बल, इसकी कौन तुलना कर सकता है? Bhagwan says such people hate me. Pradvishanto. It's not literally hating Krishna. It simply means that we are sunk in, we or they, Asuri people, their goodness, everyone has goodness, is completely muffled and blanketed in rampant materialism. एक ब्लैंकेट उसके ऊपर ओढ़ा दिया गया है. That's why there is no room for recognizing Krishna. That's why Krishna just uses allegorical words like Pravishanto Bhyasuyaka. They hate me, he says. No, hate me meaning they will not be able to recognize me, that's all. Okay, number 19. But what finally happens? होता क्या है फिर? इतना आसुरी प्रवृत्ति के बारे में सुन लिया. There were hardly 3 verses or 2 about Daivi pravritti in the beginning of this chapter. And now about Asuri, Bhagwan has talked about at least in 5 or 6 verses. That's because he wants to put up a warning post. When you are on a dangerous drive on the Serpentine Hill Road, there are more and more signposts. When you're just on a clear highway, there won't be so many signposts because you've taken the highway on a safe road, on a highway. The signposts keep increasing when you're on a dangerous path like the hill road. These are signposts, and therefore so many verses about Asuri. Don't take that turn. If you take this turn, it's going to lead to downfall. But then finally what happens? Number 19. Tanaham dvishatah kruran samsareshu naradhaman. Bhagavan says such people are cruel haters. Again he has used the word hater. Dvishatah. Cruel haters of the highest truth, let's say. They shy away from knowing the highest truth because they say we are okay the way we are in the material world, surrounded by material comforts, and if they are not there what I desire, then I engage my mind and my body in chasing those small little material desires. So मैं busy रहता हूँ and I like my busyness क्योंकि मन उसमें रहता है कि मुझे ये करना है या वो हासिल करना है. So if my mind and body are engaged, I think it is gainfully engaged, but it's not fruitfully engaged in the larger context of the purpose of human existence. Because बहुत ही कृपा के बाद, भगवान की कृपा के बाद हमको human existence मिला है, and we cannot fritter it away in delving so deep that we cannot distinguish ourselves from the material world, the Jagat, the Prakriti. We think we are Prakriti. I mean the Asuri people, whoever. तो प्रकृति और हम एक ही हैं. If Prakriti and we were the same, then we would not be able to express ourselves. There would be no sense of beauty or creativity or sense of meditation or realization or daya or dan. These are qualities only human beings are capable of because they are chaitanya, they are chetan. Human beings have been given certain very, very specific qualities, and out of that, if 99% we have engaged only in Jivan Nirvaha and the material world, Bhagavan says that's a very sorry plight that you have put yourself in. And so, Tanaham Drishataku, such people are cruel to themselves because they have shirked the highest reality, and they are, again very strong word, Sansareshu Naradhaman, the worst among men. The worst among men. Why? Because they are like vultures. What do vultures do? They fly very high. So you may think, wow, what a flight and how sublime is their life. Just like our lifestyles become higher and higher, more sophisticated, better lifestyles, and we think we are flying high. But notice where the sight of the vulture is focused. The vulture flies high, but the sight is focused down on the ground on a putrefying carcass, on a rotting body. Why? Because he wants that. उसको नोचना है, उसको खाना है, वही flesh खाना है. So his sight is focused on that flesh. हम चाहे अपना lifestyle जितना भी ऊंचा उठा लें, my mind is always on calm. I desire this or that or something else in the world. And that desire is like the vulture's sight on trying to peck at some putrefying or rotting flesh down there deep down on the ground, low, very low on the ground. It's like that, like the vulture's flight. The worst among men, that is Sansareshu Naradhaman. Shvipamyajastramashubhan Asurishveva Yonishu. Krishna says I, but actually we ourselves do it. I hurl them into the womb of the Asuri people. Womb of Asuri people means what? That whatever actions we choose to take right now, whether they are related with materialism or spiritualism or something more sukshma than just the gross world, whatever the actions we take will create similar kind of tendencies in us. We know that very well. Those tendencies or those impressions now are going to be, the Atma will seek out in the next few lives the same kind of impressions and same kind of tendencies and same kind of situations which can fulfill the same tendencies. So So in order to fulfill the same tendencies, the Atma will seek out a similar kind of birth. So a low birth maybe, where there is more and more materialism. Just like when we have a certain mindset, we try to seek out like-minded people. We say, हमको like-minded people की company अच्छी लगती है, because then I grow in their company. In the same way, Atma seeks out similar kind of situations which will fulfill the tendencies that are developed right now. All the tendencies. How? Through our actions. How do actions come? Through our thoughts. What are our thoughts based on? Some desire, kam, krodh, mad, lobha, moha. So, the thought, and you know where the thought comes from. Chapter 3 had already mentioned it. Indriya, our senses. Because our senses, like the wild horses of the chariot, are leading us hither and thither, and the mind follows it, and I follow it, and I'm dragged behind it. And then I say, oh, ye meri gati kya hui? Gati means my destiny. Where have I landed up? So Bhagavan says, that's where you'll land up. Now when he says, I will hurl them into the wombs of the lower wombs, it doesn't mean like a judgmental king or an all-powerful God passing judgment. No, not at all. He's simply reminding us of the law of karma, of the law of cause and effect, the law of consequences, and it's a universal law. Whether I am born in Syria or in Sudan or in China, or I am a monk in Buddhist monk in Japan, whether I am a terrorist in Sri Lanka, doesn't matter. This law applies to me equally. It's universal, just as consciousness is universal. It cannot be different. It is Advaita, indivisible. Therefore, Jesus had also said, be sure, he said to his followers, Jesus Christ, be sure your sin will find you out. Of course, your goodness will also find you out. We must remember that. It's not only sin. So this karmic principle will fling us into lower births. That's just a reminder that everything we do or think has a consequence. Everything has a consequence. It cannot go unnoticed. Jo jas kari, so tas phal chakha. That's mentioned in Ramayana. Again and again it will be repeated. I am flung into births, different births according to the tendencies I develop. And this, it is based on the theory of reincarnation, of course. If we don't believe in reincarnation, then none of this philosophy just doesn't apply to us. Then we might as well say that we have been given this one single life by accident, and by accident I have a human form, and I have evolved by accident to a human form, so many accidents. And when I die, when this body dies actually, that's the end of it, I turn back to dust. I may as well believe that, and then this philosophy won't apply to me. So that's a choice. But it has been said also, this is not a new thought. Reincarnation, the way we think is the way we will be born, is not a new thought. It was mentioned in the 8th chapter also, when Bhagavan said, Yam yam vapi sam smaran bhavam, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. जिस तरह का हमारा भाव या thought या memories हैं, त्वजत्यन्ते कलेवरम, at the time that we leave our body, then tam tameva iti kaunteya, that's where he goes. Sada tad bhava bhavitaha, always thinking of the same kind of tendency, that's where we go. This thought has been repeated here, reminding. There's a constant reminder, there's a constant refrain about the consequences of all our thoughts and actions and the habits and the swabhav which we are developing unconsciously, or let's say subconsciously, unheedful. I would say unheedful, because we prefer to turn a blind eye to it. As long as we are getting what we want in the world of matter, ye bhi mil jaye, wo bhi mil jaye, as long as we are getting those things, who wants to turn to find out what is happening to my own inner world, my antahakaran, which is actually shaping my destiny ahead? Who wants to turn to that? No, I'll keep my mind and my eye focused squarely on the material world. Bhagavan says that's a very sorry way to live, isn't it? That would be such a lopsided way to live. Now, verse number 20. Bhagavan says, Asurim yoni ma panna mudha janmani janmani Again a recurring theme, Janmani, Janmani. You want to keep going on like this, birth after birth? It's your choice, because then you are a Moodha, deluded. Moodha, Janmani, Janmani, Asurim, Yonim, Apnapi, entering the evil wombs. By evil we mean what? Lower wombs. It could be creatures, it could be Keet, Patanga, it could be a very poor family, or a place where there is a lot of violence, born in a country where there is violence, born in a country where there's constant famine, there is deprivation. So it's not an accident. We will be born in situations and countries and in families where there will be Asuri Pravritti. No high learning, no tapas, no dhyan, no shastra, and no talk of evolution. I may not get a birth or a family like that. Mama prapyaiva kaunteya, and then I will not attain Mama, I will not attain Krishna. Mam, he is talking about himself. Attain me, he is saying. Krishna saying, Mama prapyaiva kaunteya tato yantyardhamam gatim. And therefore, they will fall, not attaining me, they will fall lower and lower. So as we saw, how do we fall? A thought turns into action, turns into repeated habit, turns into swabhav, turns into our destiny. Janmani, Janmani, birth after birth. Now slowly if we are sinking lower and lower, that means that, the grades, suppose I keep failing in mathematics, and until I keep failing and I keep losing hope, there's no one to guide me. Maybe I didn't find a good teacher in mathematics in school, and so I got worse and worse at mathematics, and so you need a good sarathi, by the way, in life. So I didn't get a good sarathi or a maths teacher, and then I was bottom of the class. My grades were bottom of the class. Same thing can happen. I don't have a good scripture or guide or guru to show me the signpost, and there I am falling to the bottom of my class, bottom of human existence. My grades have gone down. But by indulging in too many Asuri activities, what am I doing? I am only collecting more dukha for future, agami karma. और अभी जो मुझे दुख आ रहे हैं, loss and pain and bereavement and disappointment and वो सब दुख कहाँ से आया है? वो तो मैंने कुछ नहीं किया इस लाइफ में. I'm so innocent. Yes, you may be innocent, but it has come as prarabdha. Prarabdha meaning that bundle which is collected from your previous karma. So don't collect karma for the future is what Bhagwan is saying. He's not saying everything is fixed. So what is there to do? This is a fallacious argument that is offered by many a non-believer, saying कि अगर सब चीज fixed है, karmic law चल रहा है, then it's a very fatalistic philosophy and there's nothing to do. Everything is fixed. No. What about agami karma? You have a choice and you can make a difference, provided you believe in it. So we do believe कि मैं 30 साल 20 साल और जीऊंगा, इसीलिए तो हम पैसे और सिक्योरिटी और मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस और लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं ना, because I have a belief that I will live on. In the same way we have to collect our karmic security with the belief and श्रद्धा कि आगामी जन्म है भाई. नहीं तो फिर क्यों कलेक्ट करेंगे हम? अपने पुण्य कर्म क्यों कलेक्ट करेंगे? Just like बैंक बैलेंस which we keep collecting. We have full श्रद्धा. हाँ, हम तो 50 साल और जिएंगे. अरे कभी कभी तो हम सोचते हैं कि हम मरेंगे ही नहीं, because death is something we do not associate with ourselves. Anyway, that's another story. Coming back to Asuri Pravritti, Bhagwan is saying, yes, you can identify your Asuri Pravritti in a jiffy. Very soon you can identify कि where you are falling short. वो कैसे? Verse number 21. त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः. There are 3 triple gates, not a single gate, but triple gate to hell, to your destructive self. That means to the destructiveness of yourself. How? Which are these 3 gates? Second line. Same theme is repeated. Kama, Krodhas, Tatha, Lobha. 3 gates. Kam, Krodh, Lobh. What is काम? काम is a भाव that मैं इस चीज का या उस वस्तु का या इस व्यक्ति का या उस सिचुएशन का भोग कर लूं, भोग, एंजॉयमेंट कर लूं, वो है कामना। मैं इस चीज का व्यक्ति, वस्तु, परिस्थिति, घटना का भोग कर लूं, लेट मी एंजॉय इट। बट देन व्हाट इज लोभ? लोभ इज मुझे उस जॉय का, उस भोग का और संग्रह करना है, उन वस्तुओं का और संग्रह करना है, क्योंकि मुझे और चाहिए, एंड इट्स नॉट इनफ। सो ग्रीड इज लोभ। एंड व्हाट इज दिस इन द सेंटर? क्रोध। अच्छा, क्रोध भी आता है, क्यों भाई? वो इसलिए कि जब हमारी कामना पूरी नहीं हो पाती, उसमें कोई ऑब्स्टिकल्स या बाधाएं आती हैं, which the world will put place before us, there will be obstacles. You cannot have a bed of roses, life would still be boring. Then क्रोध आता है। अच्छा, मेरी कामना पूरी नहीं हुई, अब मुझे क्रोध आया। लेकिन कभी कभी पूरी भी होती है और कई बार पूरी होती है, तब हमको संतुष्ट हो जाना चाहिए एंड लीड अ वंडरफुल एंड टर्न टू गॉड ना, कि हमारी कामनाएं सब पूरी कर दी एंड आई एम कृतज्ञ एंड ग्रेटफुल एंड थैंक यू गॉड, आई वांट टू नो द हाईएस्ट ट्रूथ। अरे नहीं, डजंट हैपन। व्हेन वी आर सैटिस्फाइड वी टर्न टुवर्ड्स ग्रीड, कि मुझे और चाहिए। तो लोभ becomes the third gate to hell. But whether my kamana is satisfied or not satisfied, in both cases my mind is restless. In the first case it is restless and turbulent with krodha, anger, and in the second case it is turbulent and restless with greed. But in both cases, haath kya laga? Restlessness. I have not got that shanti I am looking for, although I am striving so hard in the world. Because we are looking at the wrong things. So when we say naraka, that narak which Bhagwan is talking about is not a physical place, and of course Bhagwan is not a cruel God. It is a condition of our own mind, created by ourselves. That condition, that dimension which we have created, and that very toxic mental climate that we create in ourselves, in our minds, of kama, krodha, lobha, that toxic climate is the poison of hell. Narak ka wahi definition hai. So the theme of this chapter is what? 16th chapter is that self gratification, केवल और केवल self gratification, कामनाओं के पीछे अगर हम भागेंगे, it is not going to lead us anywhere. I may acquire a lot of wealth and just die on top of that big heap of wealth and not take a penny with me. It's only your egolessness, selflessness, and selfless action that is finally going to lead us somewhere in apna udhar, so that I get a swabhav and I get a yoni or a janma which takes me to the higher truth. तो भगवान कहते हैं काम क्रोधस् तथा लोभः, ये तीन चीजों को तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत, इन त्रयम को त्यजेत, त्याग कर दो भाई। हाँ, वेरी इजीली सेड, त्याग कर दो। पर वी आर होल्डिंग ऑन टू इट एज इफ that's the basis of our existence, or maybe we haven't thought enough about it, because it has become a habit, like complaining has become a habit, like whining has become a habit. Same way krodh and irritability has become a habit, and we don't give it a second thought. Bhagwan says it's an evil gate, it's a warning thing. It cannot be a bigger signpost on the road by Krishna saying these three gates, please give up. Tyajet. How? हम लोग कहते वाह कृष्णा, you said so easily, त्यजेत. I don't even know where to begin. But Bhagwan reminds us that he had already mentioned in the 3rd chapter, 34th verse, he had said कैसे हम काम क्रोध लोभ से बच सकते हैं. What is it that is driving it? So he had said in the 3rd chapter, इंद्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ. Now we know the real culprit. The real culprit is our indriya, our senses, रंग रूप रस गंध स्पर्श को भोग कर ले through our sense of touch and sight and sound and तो ये इंद्रियां जो है ना, ये कभी fulfill नहीं होती. They are always thirsty and hungry because the world, it is facing the world, outward looking है ना, ये they are facing the world. So this indriya se attraction and repulsion is created by the indriya. when we reach out into the world, then we have rag or dvesh. I like this, I don't like that. Raga dvesha. Tayor navashama gachetao. Third chapter में कहा था बस इंद्रियों को वश में कर लो ना. Again there is a simple formula. इंद्रियां वश में हो, वशमा गच्छेतो यास्य परिपंथिनो, and then you will have redemption. You will have no, in fact it says you will have no enemies in the way of your redemption. यानी कि आपके पास enemies और obstacles होंगे ही नहीं. Enemy number one is काम, and the one who is his partner, the partner of this enemy, colluding with it, is Indriya, the senses, and these two are causing all the havoc and actually causing us, taking us to our ruin, self-ruination. So, are we allowing it to take? Are we allowing these two imposters or thieves to take us to our own ruin? Well, that's for us to allow or not allow. Depends on whether we are aware or unaware. Chaitanya में जी रहे हैं या मूर्छा में? Are we, leading a half-aware life in darkness? That's a choice. Bhagwan leaves it to us. He's giving no judgment on that. Now, verse number 22. एतैर् विमुक्त कौन्तेय तमोद्वारै स्त्रीभिर्नरः. From these three gates you can be liberated. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, that is your lust and anger and greed, you can be liberated. Hey Arjun, Kaunteya tamodvarai stribhirnarah. Which are these three gates for man? For animals also actually, but animals don't suffer from greed. Acharatyatmana shreyah. How can you escape these three gates? He says through practice of words which are shreyah. Through the practice of what is shreyah. Now shreya or shreyas, simply put in English, it means practice of good deeds. Now shreya again has no deep enough translation in the English language. Shreya. So shreya here doesn't mean an action which is good only for ourselves, which will lead us to a higher life, but also an action which ends up bringing welfare and goodness to all others around us. Shreya. Choose those actions, Kaunteya, Shreya, and practice them. Practice means achar mein lao, apne acharati, practices. And then tato yati param gatim. Then no one can stop you from gaining the highest goal. So, when you are liberated from these three, the road to liberation or the highest gain is clear. Because in order to avoid these three gates, you know what we need? Of course, we need a high level of self-awareness. Like I said, when there is an experience happening outside of us, all experiences are happening outside, by the way. When that experience is happening outside of us, can we at that moment see what is the reaction happening inside of me because of that experience right now, right there? That is a heightened level of awareness, Chaitanya. Bhagwan says that needs energy. It needs energy to be able to divert your energy and observe. अगर हम मूर्छा में रह रहे हैं, half intoxicated, I don't need energy. Then I just move from khao piyo so aram, and I move to my routine life, and that routine doesn't need energy. But to be alert and vigilant needs energy. That energy and power and strength which I need, I have dissipated already. How? In the pursuit of the worldly things. So I am already exhausted at the end of the day. My mind is exhausted. Not because there are things to worry, there are things to fix, there are relationships to fix, there are situations to fix. Of course, they are living in sansar. But when we allow the worry and the anxiety of those situations and objects or people to flow through our mind in continuous loops of repeated thoughts, we are dissipating our energy. That's called worry actually. Worry and anxiety is nothing but a mindless loop of the same thoughts recurring over and over again. It's called worry. Now tell me, 6 months back, was there something we were worrying about? Think about it. Let me think. Okay, yes, I was worried about a certain EMI which I had to pay to the bank. And day and night I would calculate and sit up, and it caused me a lot of restlessness. Today, is that situation taken care of? Yes. Did the worry solve that problem? Or did you take some action and leave it there? Yes, I took some action. I had borrowed money and the EMI was paid. Then that's the end of it now. Then why those months of worry and anxiety and exhausting the mental energy, which is needed for a higher purpose? That worry did not help you solve that EMI, whatever the financial issue was. Today it is solved. Is it bothering you now? No, not at all. It's solved, you see. It was solved by one swift action. Then why allow same thing? Right now there may be something which after 6 months will seem like such a trivial thing. Arey haan, this action sorted it out. So brooding over it and dwelling on it far too long is dissipating, and is actually, we are becoming fatigued in this sansari anxiety. So therefore when Bhagwan says acharati, practice karo. Kya practice karo? Shreya, good actions. Where is my energy? I have no energy left for acharati of any action. And therefore Bhagwan says, in Kathopanishad also he has said, the Kathopanishad, that there are always two ways. In the woods, two ways parted, and I chose the one less traveled. Shreyas and Preyas, two ways. Shreyas is the one which is the right path, and Preyas is the one which comes from Priya, जो मुझे प्रिय है, मुझे अच्छा लगता है. अच्छा जो लगता है हमेशा हमारे लिए, it's not good for our spiritual health. So, but we follow always things that we like, Preyas, and that's leading us to our downfall. Again, that's a mistake. Thinking that anything that is priya to me, Preyas, and I follow it, will bring me joy and happiness. So I am only following my happiness. No. Bhagwan says there's one more thing. The Shastras will tell you that there is a higher good and it will point the way. So just शास्त्रों का आधार ले लो ना, simply. नहीं, अगर रास्ते नहीं पता है और कोई नहीं बता रहा है तो केवल और केवल शास्त्र का आधार तो लो. Instead of going blindly into a direction pointed by some wayside bystander over there, वो wayside जो bystander है उसकी philosophy कुछ भी हो सकती है. काम क्रोध मद लोभ मोह, वो सोचता है कि बस यही प्रकृति है और he is guiding us कि हाँ यहाँ चले जाओ. No, we can't take directions from the bystanders. Sorry, we have to take directions from Krishna, from Shastra, if we are to redeem ourselves. So Bhagavan says in verse number 23, Yashastra vidim mutsrajya vartate kamakaratah. Exactly. Who is going to redeem you except the ordinance of the scriptures? Shastra vidhi. Very first word is Shastra vidhi. तो उसका तो आश्रय ले सकते हैं. And those who ignore the advice of the Shastra or of that of Krishna, then they are vartate kamakaratah, acting out of the impulse of desire only, all the time. Animals also do that, acting out of the impulse of desire. न सिद्धम वाप्नोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम. जो शास्त्र को भी नहीं अपना गाइड मानना चाहता है, उसका क्या होगा? न सिद्धिम वाप्नोति, न तो उसको परफेक्शन सिद्धि मिलेगी किसी चीज में, न सुखम, ऑफ कोर्स नो जॉय नो आनंद, न पराम गतिम, सुप्रीम गोल तो छोड़ ही दो. पराम यानी परम, गतिम यानी डेस्टिनी. न पराम गतिम, supreme goal is a far cry for such a person. Bhagavan has just pronounced the judgment. Shastra, words of the rishis, Krishna, they are pronouncing certain things, proclaiming certain truths from the rooftops. At least listen, he says. Then what about Ravan? Ravan was a very learned man, and in fact he was steeped in the Shastras. Not only in Shastras, but he had done the most fierce kind of tapasya. But he should have been the most blessed one, na? Yes. But unfortunately, it's the same 3 gates of hell which took him right into hell. Same 3 gates. Because he could not resist the power of lust and desire. Simple. तो रावण का तो उदाहरण है ना हमारे सामने कि हमने इतने शास्त्र पढ़ लिए, इतनी किताबें पढ़ ली और हमने पैरेट की तरह इतने श्लोक याद कर लिए, बट माई लाइफ स्टाइल हैज नॉट चेंज, माई माइंड सेट हैज नॉट चेंज. तो रावण की तरह वी आर ऑल्सो हेडिंग इन टू डिस्ट्रक्शन, ऑल्दो he also had a great abhiman and garva about his being so learned in the Shastras. It didn't save him, right? Same way, It's not going to save us. Just the mere word knowledge of the Shastras are not going to save us, redeem us. So we can destroy ourselves very easily, and that's how Ravan did. Na sa siddhimavapnoti na sukham na param gatim. Ravan ki gati wahi hui. So what is Chinmaya ji trying to say? He's saying, look, why are we leading a life which is propelled all the time, propelled and pushed forward by desires, and it's torn by anger and irritability, and our nerves are constantly frayed by anxiety and worry, and we are constantly dancing to the tune of some fickle, whimsical desire arising now and then. That's the nature of our mind and our lives. Bhagavan says, oh, watch out, because that's not the purpose of your life. And in the last verse, Bhagavan says, in the 16th chapter, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthitao. Let the scriptures, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam, ये authority of Shastra जो है ना, उसको पकड़ लो बस. पहले मानो तो सही कि मेरी राह गुम हो गई है, I have lost my way. Only then you will be able to say, भैया मुझे शास्त्र पकड़ा दो. Through any means, जो भी निमित्त हो, anyone. कार्य in all my actions, right or wrong actions, I want to hold on to Shastra. Bhagavan says, okay, do that, because it is the Shastra which will give you Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karmako Karma Karto Miharhasi. Karma Karto Miharhasi, act in the sansar the way you need to act, but following the injunctions, the ordinance of the Shastra. It's a very, very simple pointer for a very simple mind. For someone who doesn't want to go into very sukshma, subtle philosophy, say, okay. So Bhagavan is still got is hand holding me, is ready to hold my finger, is ready to take me forward, because your guide and your companion and your sarthi can still be the Shastra. And what do? We have to just become humble pedestrians. Humble pedestrians saying कि मैं चल रहा हूँ, शास्त्र बस मेरा हाथ पकड़े रहो, क्योंकि वो शास्त्र है ऋषि के हाथ है. ऋषियों ने जिन्होंने तपस्या करके this knowledge has been revealed to them, उन ऋषियों का हाथ है, मैं तो pedestrian हूँ, मैं पकड़ के चल लूँगा. When we have that mindset, we get what we want. Knowledge, yes. What am I here for? Practical tips, yes. Gyan Yog, Dhyan Yog, Karma Yog, and also Bhakti Yog. Yes, these are practical tips. And also the Shastra will tell you, watch out, I'll show you the way, but I will also tell you what the obstacles are. Your obstacles are your Asuri, Pravritti. This Kama, Krodha, Mad, Lobha, Moha and all that is driving you. Be careful, these are your signposts, obstacles, Asuri. What are your noble qualities? I will also tell you that. So all in all, the Shastra are telling you the obstacles, the path and the vidhi, the method to get there. But what happens? Many of us, we learn the scriptures, we read them over and over again. A small minuscule change may happen in our lives, but otherwise we become parrots and very dambhi and abhimani that I know the scriptures, and we become parrots in chanting the verses of the scriptures, but our lifestyle and our mindset may not have transformed to the extent that Bhagavan is expecting us to. So therefore, in conclusion, that brings us to the close of chapter 16. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yogo Namaha Shodashadhyayaha. Shodasha, 16th chapter, we come to a close. Now in this chapter, Bhagavan has held up a mirror to us. Devi or Asuri? What is your choice? One will take you to moksha, the other will take you to bandhan. What is your choice? If you are a viveki person, one who can do vivek, discernment, you will choose the one which is good for your evolution, your own spirit, your own spiritual evolution. Now what is the simple, very simple 5 tips and simple 5 qualifications? See, everything is simplified a lot by the end of this part of Gita. 5 small tips. 1, hold on to the scriptures. Don't say मैंने ये पढ़ लिया तो हो गया हमारा उद्धार, तो भगवान कहाँ है? मैं तो उसी में पढ़ा हुआ हूँ. Hold on to the scriptures for dear life. Second, reflect upon yourself. हम रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं करेंगे तो पहचानेंगे कैसे? Number 3, practice the noble virtues which have been given in the scriptures. So अगर उन्होंने कहा है दान करो, ओके मुझे दान करने का मन नहीं हो रहा है, लेकिन जब वो कह रहे हैं कि निष्काम कर्म करो, selfless service, okay, I am not used to it, nobody has taught me, I am not conditioned to it, but scriptures say I try and do it. It becomes a practice and I suddenly discover the beauty of it and say निष्काम कर्म, selfless service में तो इतना आनंद है जितना मुझे अपने सकाम भोगों में नहीं आ रहा था. वो आनंद you will discover. So practice noble virtues. And fourth, give up the evils. 3 gates है केवल, काम, क्रोध and लोभ, greed. Just give up. इतने simple pointers दिए हुए हैं इस chapter में. And fifth, वो इस chapter में नहीं है, it's in earlier chapters, but most important one, practice a little bit of detachment. तो क्या बोले हुए? थोड़ा सा detachment हो, थोड़ा सा काम, क्रोध, लोभ को कम करो, नोबल वर्च्यूज को थोड़ा प्रैक्टिस करना चाहो, करना शुरू करो, निष्काम कर्म या दान या धर्म या क्षमा. एंड ऑल्सो अपने ऊपर रिफ्लेक्ट तो करो, am I getting into क्रोध and irritability and complaining and becoming a स्वभाव of it for no rhyme or reason? And hold on to the scriptures. Simple. इससे सिंपल तो रोड मैप कोई देगा नहीं. तो that's the only way we can lose our grip of karta and bhokta. Why? Because we are human beings, and human beings have 3 qualities which no other creature has. We are unique because we have vivek. Vivek yani quality of discernment. We can discern good from evil, and we have the power of concentration. We can focus, we can do tapa. There is no creature in the world that can sit and do tapa unless it's a kingfisher who wants to meditate upon a fish and sit still for hours together, but that's for getting some kind of a worldly reward, only for food. No, that's not tap. Tap also means doing austerities to earn a higher purpose. So ध्यान and tap किसके पास है? सिर्फ human beings के पास है. tap and ध्यान and विवेक, discernment and selflessness. 3 चीजें हमारे पास हैं. सेल्फलेसनेस, एंड वी डोंट प्रैक्टिस इट. ना विवेक प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, इंद्रियां जहां ले चली जा रही हैं हम वहीं भागे चले जा रहे हैं, विवेक नहीं दिखाई देता. ध्यान और तप और ऑस्टेरिटी तो छोड़ो, हमें तो भोग और आराम में आनंद आ रहा है. और सेल्फलेसनेस नहीं, मेरी व्हाट इज इट कॉल्ड, मेरी कामनाएं सबसे पहले पूरी होनी चाहिए. I'm not going to think about nishkam karma, about others. This is the kind of asuri life that some of us lead. And Bhagavan says, watch out. But then, what about the ladder? He has talked about the ladder of descent. कि आप कैसे आपका पतन हो रहा है. 16th chapter. 17th chapter, don't worry, is the ladder of ascent. अब हम ऊपर कैसे उठ सकते हैं? वो भी भगवान ने 17th chapter से शुरू किया है. So that will be next time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Narpanamastu. Narpanamastu. Narpanamastu.